Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into something pretty incredible. We are literally exploring the architectural blueprint of a child's mind. Think about it. Just like building a massive skyscraper, human development requires a meticulously planned, rock-solid foundation, right? We're going to break down exactly why early learning builds these absolutely crucial foundations for a successful life. And we'll be looking at this specifically through the lens of early childhood education and care, or EECE for short, as we head toward the year 2026.
So that brings up a huge question. When is the absolute most important time in a human's life? I mean, is it our teenage years when we're trying to figure out our identity? Or, maybe our 20s when we finally enter the workforce? Well, according to the research, it's actually a really brief, highly sensitive window of time right at the very beginning. Let's explore exactly why this short little developmental window is, quite literally, the ultimate game changer.
Here is our blueprint for today. 1. Defining early childhood education. 2. Building the brain's foundation. 3. Education trends for 2026. And 4. Careers in early education.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Defining Early Childhood Education.
Okay, so you'll hear the acronym ECEC a lot. That stands for Early Childhood Education and Care. Simply put, this is the systematic learning and developmental help kids get right from birth up to about 8 years old. It's this incredibly comprehensive approach that focuses holistically on the whole shebang: mental, emotional, social, and physical growth. ECE is all about making sure a tiny human gets exactly the support they need during the absolute most formative phase of their existence.
Moving on to Section 2, Building the Brain's Foundation.
During these early years, a child's brain is growing and wiring its architecture at a pace that is just wildly faster than at any other point in life. Now, we often expect early education to just be, early academics, learning basic reading or counting. But the reality of ECEC goes so much deeper than that. It's really about teaching kids how to communicate, how to understand those big emotions, and how to actually problem solve. It's about teaching a child how to self-regulate when they get frustrated, and basically how to navigate the messy complexities of being human.
Think of these vital skills as literal building blocks, stacking one right on top of the other. Right at the base, ECEC encourages teamwork and communication. Because once a child can communicate, then we can stack on the basics of reading and math. And with that cognitive base locked in, we can boost creativity and curiosity. Of course, all of this exploration takes serious emotional and behavioral growth to handle the inevitable failures and successes. And finally, crowning the whole structure, it develops adaptability. You see how they feed into each other, right? You just can't have a highly adaptable, creative problem solver if you haven't first laid down those foundational blocks of emotional regulation and basic communication.
So how do we actually construct this? Well, a really well-thought-out program relies on 3 main structural pillars. Step 1 is regulated play. Believe it or not, this is the primary way children safely explore the world. Step 2 is guided learning, where skilled educators step in to just gently steer that natural curiosity toward key developmental milestones. And Step 3, caring spaces. Inclusive, open, and caring spaces provide the necessary structural support for a child to take risks, foster their independence, and honestly, just fall in love with learning.
Next up is Section 3, Education Trends for 2026.
We have to face facts. The need for quality early education is bigger than ever in today's rapidly evolving, heavily tech-driven environment. We are literally preparing children for a world, and specifically for jobs and technologies, that don't even exist yet. It's a massive, crazy modern challenge. I mean, how do you prepare a 4-year-old for the year 2045? You do it by equipping them with highly adaptable foundational skills that can transfer to absolutely any environment.
And educators are actively responding to this with some really cool concrete strategies for 2026. First off, we're seeing the careful addition of interactive digital tools right into preschool classes. Second, there's this huge push toward utilizing play-based and inquiry-driven strategies, basically letting the child's own questions drive the curriculum. Third, there's a really deep focus on individualized and open education, which recognizes that everybody has their own unique developmental pace. And finally, targeting 21st century skills like collaboration and creativity to ensure these learning spaces are dynamic, inclusive, and future-proof. And that brings us to Section 4, Careers in Early Education.
Because look, a blueprint is completely useless without the master builders who actually pour the concrete and frame the walls, right? In the world of EECE, these builders are our incredibly essential educators. As global awareness of the benefits of early education grows, EECE has become a rapidly growing career choice. We're talking about a field that encompasses preschool instructors, sophisticated lesson plan creators, and a huge array of childcare professionals. It is, for sure, a deeply rewarding path for anybody passionate about actively shaping the future of humanity.
So, if you're wondering how to become one of these foundational, future-ready builders, there are a few actionable steps you can take. Step 1 is pretty straightforward: enroll in ECEC classes or get an online certification to acquire that bedrock knowledge. Step 2 involves completing comprehensive training programs so you can get real, hands-on practical experience. And Step 3, this is absolutely crucial: continuously keep pace with global teaching standards. The landscape is always shifting, and the absolute best educators are lifelong learners themselves.
As we start to wrap up this explainer, I want you to consider this really powerful takeaway from our source material. It says, early childhood education and care is more than just learning at a young age. It is the basis for a child's future. It just perfectly hits the nail on the head and reinforces our whole architectural blueprint metaphor. The investments we make, both in resources and in high-quality teaching, during those first 8 years of life, literally dictate the structural integrity of the adult that follows.
Which leads us to one final, slightly provocative thought. If early education is the basis for a child's future, what kind of society are we building today? Because when we invest in high-quality early education, we aren't just helping one individual child out. We are literally building the foundation for a more collaborative, creative, and resilient society as a whole. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredibly vital topic. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.